All right. This is for CP Webster, who right now I'm reading his book, Lovecraft's Cat. I've read about, I think, half of it. This guy is this is great stuff, man. This guy's a really good writer. Really enjoying it. I mean, he's good, man. And when I mean good, I mean, not, it's the way he writes. He writes in different styles. Uh, he creates that atmosphere. He really captures like the weird tale thing, but without trying to copy it exactly. And I could be wrong, but I think there's like I sense some cinematic references in there as well, but I could be totally wrong about that. But anyway, CP Webster has a question for LaFond, and the question is, he mentions how erudite you are about a number of topics.
Oh,
nice. You see, and you do. I'm like, damn, this guy knows, especially about ancient world and ancient history. This guy knows a lot of stuff. So, and he was wondering, do you practice any memory exercises? He brought up, I think I'm pronouncing it, Simonides. That's what it sounds like. Memory Castle, and was it something with the LOCI? I'm probably mispronouncing it. I don't know any of that. The Memory Palace, the only one I remember from history is Matteo Ricci, a Jesuit, and they were doing mnemonics, I believe, like that movie Johnny Mnemonic. Mnemonics, I think that was the idea of a memory castle. That's all I know. James, what do you have to say on his question? If you're familiar with what I had just mentioned, Simonides and LOCI, I don't know how it's pronounced, but
I generally don't have a problem remembering things. I write because I have a problem forgetting things. And my brain gets very crowded, and I have to try to find ways to get rid of ideas or compress them and file them away somewhere. I even had a ritual that I stopped doing in 2020 when I wrote 37 books. I used to get really drunk to celebrate the finish of every book. And I would generally do it by myself. A lot of it was in Portland. And this was a way for me to wipe out what I had been obsessed with for the past 2 weeks or past week, and then start on a fresh topic. But it was pointed out to me that this wasn't going to end well. So I stopped doing that. And thank you, Mr. Webster, for writing my autobiography. And I look better.
no.
I look better on the cover than I do in person. So I appreciate that. To a lot of people I know, I am H.P. Lovecraft's cat.
No, don't say that. No.
It's true. I get called that all the time. Especially
I've been called that at least 30 times in my life.
Okay, so it's interesting though, because I find myself doing something now that I think might be a memory exercise when I'm on the train. It's not convenient to get out my writing equipment and write on the train. I read as much as I can, but I have issues with my eyes, so I will close my eyes and I will write something related to what I'm reading in my mind, and I would write it over and over again in my mind, so that it's how I do dialogue. I usually write dialogue for characters in novels when I'm walking. I guess that's a memory exercise. I don't know. So then when I get to the keyboard, I'm not thinking. And this is how I used to write when I worked in supermarkets at night. I would write in my mind, and then I would hurry up home, hopefully not get mugged. If something like that happened, I'd write about that and clear the deck, and then I would write what I had been rewriting over and over again in my mind. And I think that's why I only do one draft of anything. The only time I'll do a second draft is if I accidentally erase something, like I accidentally erased Thunderbird.
Oh yeah, I
like
remember that you told me.
30,000 words. I stayed up for 3 days and rewrote it from memory. Now, interestingly, my father, Ted LaFond, was a partner in a company called Impact International when I was a little kid. There was a European guy that moved to the U.S. and had a memorization system. People were starting to suffer from problems with their memory because the workplace was getting much more complicated in the 1970s. And people were also working and doing stuff at home.
Right, right.
Yeah, so um, it was rhyming. It was rhyming exercises, and my brother Tony and my sister Teresa and I would sit in the back, and my father would drive wherever we were going. It made my mother crazy. He would play the memorization tapes because he totally believed in this.
Oh God.
My dad was a fanatic salesman. He would only sell stuff he really believed in, and then he was like, it's profit. And so he's training us kids in this memorization thing. Well, it was like building rhymes. My dad got ripped off and actually got left holding the bag by the guy that embezzled the money. So then my dad actually took charges, civil charges over it.
Oh.
Not only did he lose everything, he got sued on top of that.
God.
So I was a real little kid. Now, there's a novel by my favorite writer, Gene Wolfe, titled Soldier of the Mist, and the sequel, Soldier of Arete, and they're combined in an omnibus titled Latro in the Mist. It is about a hero that is a Latin mercenary fighting for the King of Kings against the Greeks at the Battle of Plataea. This would have been 479, I think, BC, and he gets a head injury. And he's also cursed by the Mother of the Gods because they're fighting near her tomb, near the tomb of the Mother of the Gods. He ends up speaking, I think, Pindar. Pindar was a younger rival to Simonides. Simonides is the one that wrote the brief ode, epitaph to the 300 Spartans.
Oh, okay.
Passerby, go tell the silent men that, here obedient to their laws we lie. Simonides did that, and his younger competitor, because these guys competed in competitions, Pindar, he is cast by Gene Wolfe as a character that teaches Latro memory exercises and has him building a temple in his mind with different statues that symbolize different events in his past. And the surgeon that operated on his head wound gave him a scroll and like a lead pencil to because he would forget everything short term when he woke up in the morning. So before he went to sleep, he would write down the events of the day, so he knew who this girl was lying next to him.
What an interesting novel.
Yeah, it's one of the best novels I ever read. And so every day he's got to meet everybody for the first time again. So he reads, but sometimes something might happen. He's awakened, suddenly, and then he doesn't know people.
Well, in terms of, I'll just wrap it in terms of your erudite memory. It's probably just, you focus on something, and we're all autistic.
Well, I can't remember what car I was in. It happened yesterday. I started. He's like, no. I'm opening somebody else's car. I've gotten into cars with other people sitting in the driver's seat, and they think I'm about to kill them. Like, no.
You're lucky you didn't get popped.
Right. So I couldn't. If I saw somebody got hit by a car, I wouldn't be able to identify the car. Okay, I do structural exercises, like I'll do an exercise a couple times a year where I describe the room that I'm writing in.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Okay, so I do that to try to put interior structure in my mind so that I can make up a room for a novel. I've used Sensei Steve's house. In 10 different novels.
That's a cool house.
Has different locations.
Mr. Place.
So I will do the interior of a place that I've stayed for a while. I'll use that in a novel, and it might be set in another part of the country, but I suppose these qualify as memory exercises. Audio, I have now listened to book 1 of Arian's Alexander's Anabasis 56 times.
Oh, geez.
Okay, I've read the book 3 times now. I'm going to read it one more time, and I will probably listen to that first book, another 30 or 40 times this summer.
Ooh.
But I want to memorize it. I can memorize it and narrate it, but I still can't memorize it word for word. That's kind of frustrating for me.
That's usually most people can't do that. Actually,
Well, those guys did.
Those guys did. Okay, right. Once again,
Okay,
look into the ancient world.
Yeah, so
We stand on the shoulders.
I'm trying to get into the mind frame of the men who would have told these stories when Arian says, according to common tradition, that's soldiers singing songs and reciting poems about what they went through and passing it down. That's the common tradition. So I want to, since I'm a working class guy and I never rode a horse, my novels about Alexander's campaigns, I want to do it from the point of view of working class infantrymen, guys on foot that fought with weapons that kind of like I've fought with and I'm good with. I can't really do a hoplite because I suck with a big shield and a spear. But I'm really good with peltaste weaponry, and I used to be very good at throwing and running. So I am trying to learn how to memorize things. I practice memorizing conversations. If somebody tells me something, some dude tells me his life story on the train, I'll tell it to myself over and over again. I used to do this when I interview guys that wouldn't let me write stuff down because they were criminals or cops. On the way home, I would just tell that to myself in his words over and over again and get home and write it. And my memory for that is around 1,500 words. And the people that I've done this with, it's if I know you, it's 1,500 words. If I don't know you, it's 500 words.
Right.
Maybe only 250. And then I'll have to insert some things in brackets that are my recollections of the narrative. But that, I've been told that I'm pretty accurate if I know you, even word for word. Okay. But that's only top 1,500 words.
All right.
Okay.
There you go. So that's, wow. With all your concussions.
27. 27 now. So being able to forget, I can only forget when I'm doing three things. When I'm writing, when I'm making love to a woman, and when I'm fighting. I can't really fight anymore. Okay, and the nubile opportunities continue to diminish in my dotage. You know, so
you only got like seven,
I have to write or I'm going to go insane.
Oh,
you know,
you don't want that.
So I write, but so that's it. I got into this because I couldn't forget things.
That's it. All right, that's pretty good, man. C.P. Webster, man. Thanks again for the question. Awesome book.
Thank you.
Right? And how'd you know? How you know that was James' name? How you know that was James? How you know that shit?
I know my hair was that messed up.